You're listening to Sensitive Changemakers. This podcast is created for highly sensitive leaders and is designed to support you to embrace your strengths and gifts so you can feel more confident in your own mind and body and live a life with intention, purpose, and more importantly, joy. I'm your host, Kate Carter, a fellow HSP who has a BA Honours degree in education, is a fully trained and qualified professional coach and NLP practitioner, and has over 17 years of teaching and over 3 years of coaching experience supporting highly sensitive people. I believe that you can do anything you want to in this life, but that sometimes the path forward becomes muddy with self-doubt and fear of failure. It's my mission to help sensitive thought leaders peel away the self-doubt and stories holding them back, for them to see their own beauty and strength so they can increase self-confidence and self-trust through thought and embodiment work, and see their path clearly and move forward confidently, living their life with intention and purpose. I would love for you to come and join us. Welcome to Sensitive Changemakers. I hope whenever you're listening to this, you are well and that you are having a wonderful week. I am feeling good. And if you know anything about me at the moment, that is a huge statement for me to say. So yeah, I am really enjoying feeling like myself, and I cannot remember the last time that I felt this well. So I'm celebrating that. I have got more creativity in me. I have got more energy. I just feel like a cloud has been kind of lifted, and yeah, I'm so proud. I'm kind of proud of myself a couple of weeks ago for actually looking at different ways to support myself and really understanding more about what is going on like a blood level so that I can put some things into place. And I don't want to jinx it because I've only been sort of implementing different ideas and things over the last few weeks, but hopefully this is the change for a better future for me and just feeling well. So just adding that in there, just in case anybody needs a bit of an extra hug this week, if they're not feeling well, or if you're not feeling up to it, if you just feel a bit wobbly or low, I'm there. I get it. I'm with you. I'm giving you a big virtual hug, and just know that things generally are temporary, and you will find your way through, I'm sure, just as I'm kind of navigating my way through mine. So lots of love to you if you feel like that this week. I really wanted to come on today to kind of talk about being highly sensitive, because I think that does have a huge factor in what I'm talking about today, but also how to move toward your big goal, your version of success. You know, this podcast is called Sensitive Changemakers, and that is because I know that if you're listening to this, you are highly sensitive, but you have a big goal, you have a big vision, you have a big dream, and you may not be there yet, but something inside you won't let it give it up. And so if that resonates with you, then this episode is absolutely for you. So if you're feeling like you're doing everything, if you feel like logically, consciously, cognitively, you're putting everything into place, you're listening, you're reading, you're taking information in, you're implementing, you're showing up, you're doing the work, and for whatever reason you don't feel that you're there yet, I want to invite you to really listen to this episode. Ask me any questions if there's any kind of vagueness or anything that you want further clarification on. Please do reach out. I love, love, love supporting people. So please just ask. You can find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, or just email me. All of the links are in the show notes, but please do reach out. And I'm really hoping that you can take something from this episode that's really going to support you in moving forward. So first of all, your version of success, that big dream and big goal that you have, there are lots of different tools, techniques, ideas out there which will help you to move forward towards your goal. You know, in coaching, we learn about SMART goals, so a goal that's specific, measurable, attainable, achievable, or relevant and timely. This is kind of the coaching principles. So it's it's everything. It's kind of the basis. We look at supporting you in reaching your goals through coaching, through, really detailed and powerful questions to support you in seeing where you currently are, what you can bring from your past into your moving forward, your kind of actions, your behaviors. So that you've got those, I love me some SMART goals. So they're there. You've got mindset work. You've got future pacing. If you've ever done that, that's the idea that you kind of embody your future version now, and you kind of make decisions from that place. You really feel into that. You've got positive psychology, and this is, if you've not read The Happiness Advantage, that's a fantastic book. It talks about studies and research around happiness and actually how a lot of people put so much emphasis on the external. So things like, I'll be happy when, I'll be happy if. And what they're saying is, I won't feel happy until I've got that one thing. I won't feel happy until I've achieved that one thing. And actually, that book talks about the opposite, that people have got it the wrong way around, that you have to feel it before you have it. And if you start to feel that happiness, if you start to feel that that kind of gratitude almost, then you will start to see it reflect in your external world. So we've got that positive psychology. I love that. Looking at your identity, if you've read Habits by James Clear, one of my favorite books, it looks at how powerful your identity is when you're trying to make change, when you're trying to reach a goal that is new for you, that is completely out of your comfort zone. And he gives the great example of the mindset between two people who are quitting smoking. And he talks about person A, and I know I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but I think it's really worth kind of just going over it now. He talks about one person and how when they're offered a cigarette, they reply with, no, I'm trying to quit. And then you've got person B who is asked the same question, do you want a cigarette? No, I'm not a smoker. And just how that shift in embodying that identity of a non-smoker is more powerful when you're trying to make change. Now, obviously, that's if we think about it, they're trying to move away from something that has been quite harmful for them. What we're trying to do when we're talking about moving towards your big goal is we're moving towards pleasure. We're moving towards something that we feel is going to support us in living our best life, in being our best selves. And so I just want you to see that nuance there. But I think what he's saying really does stand on its own and highlights the importance of identity, of actually, who are you? And if you're not that person yet, can you shift how you see yourself so that that impacts on your behaviors and emotions, and actions rather? So you've got that, you've got affirmations. Now, all of these things are very much thinking tools, they're very much mindset tools. And I love them all. And I think they're all really useful in their own way. I definitely use them in certain areas when, you very much, in my role of work, and I'm sure that there are some coaches out there as well, you do go with what your client needs. And if a client needs something that's more kind of mindset and thought based, then you use it. Sometimes we need something a little bit different. And that's kind of where I want to go on today. So one of the areas that really gets overlooked is this thing called safety, and specifically safety in your body. We can do all of the mindset work and all of the thought work in the world, but if we don't feel safe in our body, we will eventually pull back. And what I mean by this is, you might say to yourself, because it's really sneaky, it's not a conscious thing. You're not saying, this doesn't feel safe anymore, I'm going to pull back. It's not a conscious decision. It's very much based on the subconscious, but it comes up in sneaky ways. It comes up with things like, oh, you're just really too tired to do that. Or you need another qualification before you can do that. Anything around money is huge because money, stability, safety are so closely intertwined. And actually, it's never really about the money, but what the money represents. And for most of us, money represents safety and stability. So when you're starting something new, especially, for a lot of us who are starting businesses or creating something new or changing jobs or something like that. Money is a factor in there, and it's not the money itself. I'm going to highlight that again. It's not the money itself, but what it represents. And money for a lot of us represents that safety and security. And what you're saying really when you're trying something new there, where it kind of triggers that money issue, is your subconscious is going, oh my God, this money's going to disappear and therefore I won't be safe anymore. This money's going to go and therefore I won't be stable anymore. And that means that I'm not safe. And so money is a huge issue, not because of the money itself, but what it represents. And so you've got this safety in the body that is actually running a lot of the emotions and actions or non-actions that we take or not take, but we're not even aware of it. So you could be showing up, you could be doing all of the things, you could be doing the thought work and the mindset work and telling yourself affirmations, but things don't feel like they're moving forward. Um, and if that feels like you, then just listen to what I'm going to say now and see if it helps. And like I said, do reach out if you've got any questions. So the next part of this is being highly sensitive. You've got, I think everybody experiences what I've just described, but as a highly sensitive person, you've got this extra kind of layer, which is we feel really deeply and we think really deeply. But we've also probably been told in some part of our life, probably when we were a child, maybe a bit older, that it's not okay to feel as much as we feel. So you might have been told that you're a crybaby, that you're way too sensitive. Why are you crying all the time? Why are you getting sad all the time? Why are you getting angry all the time? Why are you acting weird? And so all of these, comments that have been made, and some of them are not going to be intentionally harmful, but our subconscious has kind of latched onto them and learned that, oh, okay, showing this much emotion is not allowed. It's not okay to show this much emotion. And so we kind of reduce and suppress our emotions. We learn that when we feel a bit too much, we shut down, we suppress. We think, okay, I've learned that actually crying is something I should be embarrassed about, something I should be shameful about. So I'm just going to shut that down and not feel. So let's just shut that down right now. And what that means is that our safety bubble or our comfort zone, if that's another way that you can see this, because comfort zone is our safety bubble, that comfort zone, that safety bubble is really small because we've made it really small, because we haven't allowed ourselves to build up a resilience around feeling emotions or experiencing new emotions or new feelings because we've learned that it's wrong. And so we've shut down and we've suppressed those emotions. I hope that makes sense. And obviously everybody's a bit different. This is kind of, if you think about it as a scale, this is kind of on the more extreme side of the scale, but I'm using this as an example so that you can see hopefully some of yourself in this. I definitely see myself in this. And so I'm hoping you do too. But we've got a really reduced safety bubble, a really reduced comfort zone. And so when we try new things, it doesn't take a lot for us as a highly sensitive person to kind of step a little bit too far at that safety bubble and find it too scary, and then have those thought patterns that were coming up that I was saying earlier, like, no, this is just too much for me, or I'm not qualified enough to do this, or this means that I'm going to have to lose, I'm going to have to move away from my stable job, and therefore I won't have as much stability or safety around money, all of those different things. And again, this isn't on a conscious level, it's very much on a subconscious level, and it kind of stops us from moving forward. We get like triggered into reverting back to our safety bubble. And so that safety bubble really remains quite small. And this is why some of us, and I'm not saying all of us, but I can definitely see myself here, it's why some of us take longer to create new things, whether that's a business, a new resource, a new project. Sometimes it takes us longer because we have to kind of stretch that safety bubble. We kind of have to stretch that comfort zone, because if we keep jumping out of the comfort zone, it's too much for our nervous system. And we just kind of shrink back because that's kind of what we've been taught. It's too much. I'm feeling too much. I don't know what to do with these emotions. Right, just shut down. go back to my safety bubble, revert back to what I know is safe, even if we're not happy in that safety bubble. That makes sense. And so what I want to talk today is what this might look like in terms of increasing that safety bubble, that comfort zone, so that you can actually keep moving toward your goal. Now, some of us figure this out on our own, and some of us need some support. I've been a mixture of both. I've kind of figured quite a lot of this out on my own, and it's taken me a long time. Like I've started my business, or I started the ideas of my business back in 2017. Um, and there is still so much for me to learn. So I've had to really, I'm not even going to say take small steps. I feel like I've had to tiptoe through this because my safety bubble and my comfort zone was so restricted and I didn't even realize it. Because I think one of the other aspects of being highly sensitive, when you've learnt to suppress your emotions because you've been told you feel too much, you then rely on logic and you rely on your brain. And as we know, our brain lies to us all the time, but we rely on thinking through a situation. And like I said before, I love mindset, I love thought work. I think it's really, really fantastic. But just on its own, it's often not enough because, like I said before, we can think it through, we can write it down, but if we're not feeling safe, we're going to struggle to keep moving forward. So I've got a scenario here, which I hope is going to support you to understand a little bit more what I mean here. So, like I said, let's for example say that you've been told that you cry too much. So you learn to shut that down and you become embarrassed when you feel the need to cry. So you've learned to suppress it. You learn to kind of hold back the tears. And this also has a knock-on effect to your other emotions. So whenever you feel too much, you just learn to suppress it. And that can be any kind of emotion, anger, sadness, even happiness. A lot of people don't talk about those positive emotions, but actually, those positive emotions can feel really uncomfortable. And if you've ever thought, this feels really good, oh my God, what bad is going to happen? What's going to go wrong now? That's the kind of thing that I mean here, where we don't actually have a capacity to feel that positive emotion either. So generally, when we feel too much, we shut it down and we revert back to our little safety bubble. And then say you want to start a new project or try something new. And logically, on a conscious level, you plan it all out, you think it all through, you put everything into place, you research it, you start it. And because you've switched to that more logical approach, you're not engaging the body at all. It's almost like you've forgotten the body is there. And so when you feel some emotions and things, you just ignore them until it gets to a point where something stops you from moving forward. And it can be an array of different things. It might be getting poorly. It might be, like I said, jumping from qualification to qualification. I've been there. Jumping from idea to idea because it doesn't ever feel quite right. Jumping from offer to offer if you're a new business. Again, been there. Because again, something doesn't feel right. But you're not in a place to be able to feel what that is. So logically, you're looking at it logically, oh, it must be because this isn't working. I'll try something new. Let me try something new. I'll go over here, I'll get another qualification, or I'll try something different. And yes, while there always is the possibility that there's more mindset work to be done or more action to be taken, there's always room for those as well. But what I really want to focus on here is you're dealing with new emotions and new feelings, which trigger that same response that you've always had, which is shut down, and you revert back to your safety. And it's that I want to talk about. And how we actually do this is we need to increase that safety net. We need to increase our capacity to just feel more. And obviously you do this and you conduct this in a really safe space, ideally with somebody who can co-regulate with you, who can support you through this. And there's lots of different ways. So I'm going to talk how I approach this with a client, and I want you to take what you can from it. And again, any questions, please ask. So the first thing I always do with the client is I really anchor in a safety mechanism that is within their current safety bubble. So generally, a memory helps with this. In most cases, a memory helps. But I also like to embody it as well. So if it's a memory of, say, something that you remember where you feel really safe and really looked after and really protected and really nurtured, I'll ask you to tell me how that feels in the body. How does that feel in the body? Where do you feel that? Do you feel expansive in the chest? Just really feeling into that. So they're already starting to open those doors onto what it feels like in the body. Because, as I said, for a lot of us in this particular situation, you've kind of shut off that body response to a certain degree. You still feel, but you don't feel the depth that you may have done when you were a kid. And so this is kind of opening a window, should I say, into that experience. So kind of just allowing a very safe, protected, nurtured memory and how that feels in the body. And we kind of play around with that a little bit. I love bringing the senses in to the memory and then embodying that into what that feels like in the body so that you can actually really get a rich feeling from that anchor. And we practice that a little bit. So it's one of those things that gets easy with time. It is a new habit that you're creating. So the more you do it, the easier it gets. The more you do it, the better you can kind of tap into that and the better you can tap into that bodily feeling. So once we've got that in place, it's time to actually start allowing ourselves to feel again and allowing ourselves to increase our capacity to feel. Because by doing this, not only are we extending and increasing that safety bubble or that comfort zone, but we are also increasing our resilience and we're improving our resilience. And resilience means that we still feel things and they may be from time to time quite uncomfortable, but we can sit with that and we know that it's okay and we can feel safe in the fact that it's temporary, or we can feel safe in the fact that we've got ourselves. We're okay. This is safe to feel this. This is safe to experience this. And there was a great, and I can't do it justice because I can't remember who it was, but there was a great idea or analogy of holding an ice cube. And I think this fits in really well here, and I hope it helps. So say that you've got somebody asks you to hold an ice cube and start off with you're like, okay, it's an ice cube starting to melt. And then if you've ever held ice before, it stings. And you're like, oh, this is really uncomfortable. This is really, really cold. Really cold. It's starting to sting. I just want to let go. I just want to like throw it away. Throw it away. And I don't want to feel this anymore. And for a lot of us, if we just hold on to that ice, yeah, you get water everywhere, which isn't necessarily the most wonderful experience. But the ice melts and the pain goes, or the uncomfortableness goes, and you've sat with it and you're still okay and everything's still fine. And it's that kind of idea here. If we take that into the realm of bodily feelings and emotions. And so one of the practices that I do is creating a safe space where you can feel those emotions again. And we use, I've heard it called like tap on, tap off, or dial up, dial down. But it's a case of just sitting with that feeling. So, we might talk about, and this is where thought work comes in. So we might talk about something you've been trying to implement recently, a new project that you've been doing, a job that you want to go for, an offer that you want to implement if you're in business, just something new that you want to do. And I would ask you, okay, when you're trying that, how does that feel in your body? Does it feel expansive or does it feel constrictive? What does it feel? Where is it feeling in the body? Um, and I will get them to tap into that. And then I will actually just ask them to sit with it. And this is where thought work has no place, logic has no place, language has no place. This is all about feeling. And so we just kind of sit there. And if they're okay, I might ask them, and this is with somebody that I know and with somebody who we've already got that safety anchor in place that we can return to if needs be. But I might ask them to turn the dial up a bit or to turn the tap on a little bit. And how does that feel? A bit like holding that ice cube. How long can you hold that ice cube for before you want to throw it away? And it's the same idea. How much Can we turn that dial up before you say, no, no, that's too much? And then we can turn the tail back down and we can go back to our safety anchor. But it's that process, just a little bit at a time. And every time you're expanding your time, feeling that emotion or feeling that bodily feeling, you're increasing your safety, you're increasing that comfort zone, and you're increasing your capacity and your resilience to feel. And for some of us, this is the actual missing piece when we are trying to achieve a goal, especially if it's a big goal and a big dream, because we suddenly, and again, because logic and language doesn't really have a place here, it's not something that you can often vocalize or verbalize or put your finger on. It's, again, wonderfully, it's a feeling where you just feel more able to deal with something, more able to sit in a space where you think, oh, this is new, but I still feel safe. I still feel okay. And that enables us then to stick with a task or a goal or a dream. It enables us to stick it out. So we have that resilience, we have that increased safety, and we're learning how to sit with our emotions that we may have been told for a number of years wasn't safe to feel. And I'm hoping that you can see how this really impacts on goals, how it really impacts on dreams. And I really hope it helps you to see how, if you combine that work with thought work, with the things that I mentioned earlier, with your SMART goals, with the positive psychology, with the identity piece, with the affirmations, if you combine that work with the work of the emotions and the bodily feelings, you will be absolutely unstoppable. Because once you actually tap into that, you understand yourself, maybe not on a logical basis, but on an emotional body basis, which actually so much of us don't understand. And I speak from personal experience there. I remember when, I first started out on my self-development journey about 8 years ago, and people used to say to me, well, listen to your body. I used to think, I have no idea what my body's talking to me about. I have no idea what it's trying to say. How the hell do you listen to your body? And so that's kind of where I was. Obviously, my journey was very much what I was speaking about here today. I'd learned through nobody's fault really, just from experience and situations, but I'd learned that feeling too much was wrong. And so I suppressed, I shut down, which then led to anxiety and panic attacks. And then obviously vicious circle throughout kind of my teens, my 20s and early 30s. And it's only through doing this work that actually I'm able to grow, that I'm able to kind of see things differently and have a big dream and have a big goal, because I know that I can stick it out. I can hold that ice cube now. I can actually hold that ice cube until it melts and know that I'm still safe, that I'm okay. So I hope this really lands with you. I hope you understand where you fit into this. And I can say from the clients that I've worked with, we always go at their pace and what they need. And for some of us, especially if we're quite highly sensitive on that scale of being, on the higher end of it, some of these things take a little bit more practice. They take a little bit more embedding. They take time and patience, but it doesn't mean it has to take forever. And then some of us do this a little bit quickly, or quicker, should I say. The other thing that I think is really important to just add in here as well is that it is, I find, a great place to start. And then you can start to add in that thought work and those mindset pieces as well. Because I think the two combined, like I said before, really do support you in being unstoppable. So please, I would love to know what you take away from this, what you've learned about yourself, and what you're going to plan to do as a result. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking, actually, I don't know how to tap into my body, I don't know how that feels, I feel like I've never done that and it almost feels like a numb feeling, then please do get in touch. I have one-off sessions, I have like package sessions. Please do get in touch. It would be wonderful to support you through this and for you to actually feel, just feel again, like to know that it's okay to feel. Um, so yeah, if that is you, please do get in touch. The links are in the show notes. Let me know how you get on with this. I'm sending you so much love and an extra hug if you need that this week. and I'll be back next week for another episode. Okay, guys, bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. If you have any takeaways or any questions, please do reach out to me either through Instagram, LinkedIn or Facebook at Kate Carter Coaching, or you can email me at kate@katecarter.co.uk. I always love to hear your feedback and the things that you have taken from the podcast. If you know of any other highly sensitive people, then please do share this so that I can reach more and support more highly sensitive people to embrace their strengths and gifts. As a thank you, I will pick a winner every month for a free 50-minute coaching session with me. Thank you so much.